Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today's video is first of its kind on my channel. I don't know why I'm attempting this, but it seems so much like a challenge that I thought I might as well go for it. And I was going through some very old messages on my Instagram as well as through some of the comments long back, almost like a year ago, and I found quite a few of you have requested for men's fragrance review or a list or something like that. So I thought, why not? I could always bring a different point of view to the table, so let me give it a try. So if you're expecting a Dior Sauvage, if you're expecting a Dior Sauvage or a Creed Aventus or any other popular men's fragrance like a Versace Eros, I don't have any of these in the list today. I just have a few picks from my collection which I think are perfect. They are like must-haves for a man's wardrobe as well. So without further ado, let's get started. So I have 10 fragrances here with me today, and I will start off with one fragrance that is possibly the least expensive of all, though I'm not kind of following any category as I go ahead, but this comes to mind because this is also my scent of the day today. And this, again, as I said, this is from one of my favorite houses, and this is a beautiful fragrance, a freshie, a complete freshie, and also one of the least expensive of today's collection. This is Vetiver from the house of Guerlain. And I don't have a cap, so as I said, this is my scent of the day, so we're just kind of reapplying, and in my opinion this is a beautiful woody and yet a very fresh, very kind of fruity fresh, because I don't know, I get a little bit of the fruity vibe from it, but it's very woody. The woodiness blends with the freshness factor so beautifully that it's not a typical cologne type of a fragrance, but I feel this is good to go for both men and women, which is why I have it also as well. Guerlain had created this in the year 1961, and this was relaunched in the year 2000. And let me give you the notes in detail. The top notes are nutmeg, coriander, mandarin orange, neroli, bergamot, tobacco, lemon. Middle notes comprise of carnation, sandalwood, pepper, orris root, sage and vetiver. The base notes comprise of leather, tonka bean, amber, civet, oak moss, vetiver and myrrh. You can actually get the mandarin orange, neroli and bergamot. All of that freshness is like a power packed fresh fragrance. And when I said it's a woody fragrance, of course the vetiver and it is vetiver, of course it's Guerlain Vetiver, and it has got vetiver in the middle and at the base, but the presence of leather, civet, tonka bean, yes, it all adds to the depth of the fragrance so beautifully without taking. That's the finest part. These factors, these notes like leather, tonka bean, amber, they don't create that heavy dense feeling without taking away any bit of the freshness from neroli and bergamot. They leave their impressions, and it makes a beautiful fragrance. If you have not tried this, for a man's wardrobe, this can be a safe blind buy. So I'll keep the freshness factor. I'll continue with the freshness factor, and the next fragrance that I have in my hand is from the house of Mancera. This is called Cedrat Boise, and I'm sure many men already have it, but if you don't, this is something you must try. This, first of all, there's something that should be said for Mancera fragrances. They stick to you like glue. They give you more than 12 hours of longevity. They have the biggest projection. They have a very heavy sillage, and these fragrances, whenever I'm taking out a Mancera fragrance, and if I don't mention it, you need to know one thing for sure, that if you spray this on your clothes and if you send them for of course, I mean, you come back from work, you put them up for washing. After wash, if you're washing it at home, you can smell the fragrance next day when it is all dried up and washed and clean. This fragrance still lasts in them. You can still get a whiff of Cedrat Boise or any other Mancera fragrance for that matter. So, you know, like in my own words, I think wearing a Mancera is like a commitment. So you cannot really get rid of the fragrance that easily. It stays on with you like glue. It sticks to you like a bestie almost. So Cedrat Boise, in my opinion, is a beautiful woody fresh fragrance again, and it's kind of an addictive woodiness. You know, it's different in a way. It's not the dry woodiness, it's a different kind of a woody fragrance. There's something added to it that makes the woody aspect of it very addictive, very intoxicating. And let me give you the notes in detail. It has bergamot, it has Sicilian lemon, black currant and spicy notes at the top. The middle notes comprise of fruity notes, water, jasmine and patchouli. The patchouli does shine through it. The base notes comprise of sandalwood, cedar, leather, moss, white musk and vanilla. The reason I picked this up right after Vetiver is that this too has leather, sandalwood and vanilla, and yet, as I said, there's a soft creaminess to it, but nothing takes away the freshness, the brightness, the sparkling freshness of the fragrance. Nothing is taking it away. It's all there, and it's a good companion on a warm day. It's a daytime fragrance in my opinion, but you can wear it at any time of the day and still smell absolutely gorgeous. And like I said, this doesn't leave you at any point of time. The next fragrance that I have in my hand is an oriental woody fragrance, again from the house of Mancera. And if you ask me, this is quite a daring fragrance for a woman, yes, but for a man's wardrobe this is a must-have. And again, it comes with the same old promise from the house of Mancera that's going to last on your skin, on your clothes for more than 24 hours, and at least on your skin for more than 12 hours at a stretch. And if you give it a reapplication, I cannot really predict how long it's going to stay, because these fragrances, they stay through my washed clothes, so nothing can beat that record. So this is Hindu Kush. Now I can't tell you enough how addictive this is, and there's a reason for this, which is why it kind of piqued my interest into it. And the thing that sets Hindu Kush apart from many other fragrances, even in the world of men's fragrances, is the presence of cannabis. And that is the reason that I was kind of interested and intrigued by the presence of cannabis. And my God, cannabis this is. If you haven't tried it, I would suggest you go for a decant or a partial or a sample first, because this can be a bit polarizing. This can be a little too different for many of you if you're not used to this kind of an intoxicating cannabis feel. Though I can tell you, it's nothing too dense, nothing too intense. It's beautifully blended with other notes, but at the same time cannabis shines through the notes, so you will have to like it to be able to enjoy the fragrance. As for the fragrance, I think it's very, very likable. So the top notes are spices, cannabis, labdanum and incense. Middle notes comprise of patchouli and woody notes. The base notes comprise of amber, guaiac wood, vanilla and white musk. So the woodiness is very, very prominent here, and I think it is the presence of this prominent woody notes, the woodiness, both the guaiac wood and the woody notes, that kind of reduces the intensity of the cannabis in that way. Otherwise it would have been too intoxicating, way too strong for anyone to like it. And which is why I love Hindu Kush. It's a very different kind of a fragrance, not the typical mainstream perfume that we all like. It's definitely niche for a reason. So you can always try. I think this is a must have for a man's wardrobe. The next fragrance in my hand is a huge favorite of mine. I love this one on me a lot, and I think I think it's probably because I've used it so much that I can safely say that this is suitable for men and women alike. And the reason I have this on a top 10 perfumes for men is that men tend to get closer to fragrances that are like colognes and fresh kind of fragrances, and this is a freshness with the twist. And this is Rehab from the house of Initio Perfumes. It's, I don't know, like I keep saying this is beautiful, but this has a lot of freshness to it, and at the same time a lot of a bit of sweet, not a lot, but a bit of sweet creaminess to it as well. This was part of the Absolute collection from Initio Perfumes, and this was launched in the year 2018 if I'm remembering correctly. So the notes of this perfume are, the top notes have bergamot and lavender, the middle notes have vetiver, cedar, patchouli, the base notes have kayak wood, sandalwood and musk. So presence of vetiver, the presence of patchouli give it a lot of sharpness, the presence of cedar and the kayak wood gives it a lot of woodiness. Now just because it's men's fragrance, you think a dry woody spell is all that you need. Just then there's the musk and the presence of sandalwood that adds that beautiful twist to the story, and I think that's beautiful. It will smell very good on a man as well. Must have for a man to give you that choice on some of those days when you don't want that fresh cologne look on cologne smell on yourself. You want a little different, but then you want the freshness as well. So this has a combination of everything. That's good. The next fragrance that I have in my hand is a recent purchase, and this is Fidelis from the house of Historis de Parfums. And this is a gorgeous bottle. So this was launched in 2015, and this, in my opinion, is a very spicy, dry, woody kind of a fragrance, but if you give it a little time on yourself, it blooms into this beautiful floral fragrance. There's this rush of floral notes in the middle, and then it settles to a beautiful dry down, and that I love. That part of the fragrance I love, but at the start it's a bit dry and woody, so that may put any woman into doubt, but for a man that can be an ideal perfume combination. So the top notes are cardamom, cumin, saffron and coffee. The middle notes comprise of rose and raspberry. The base notes comprise of patchouli, amber and agarwood. So the agarwood comes as a woody, more as a woody note than as a oud kind of a note. The strength, the oud strength is less, the woodiness is more, in my opinion. But this is definitely a very, very highly recommended perfume for a man's wardrobe. The next fragrance is an all-time favorite of mine, and this is L'Air du Desert Marocain from the house of Andy Tower. God, this is so beautiful. This is one of my go-to fragrances, though I use it very, very judiciously. So this can be mostly described as a spicy oriental kind of a fragrance. This is there's a lot of inspiration taken from the desert, like a night in Morocco or a moonlit night in the Saharan desert. So I could, I mean, as an Indian, I could, picture myself wearing this in the Thar desert of Rajasthan as well. So that besides, this is, as I said, this is a very dry, spicy kind of a fragrance, and whether it's a man or a woman, this is a must-have for your wardrobe, especially if you like fragrances for different occasions. If you don't want to stick to a single perfume for all times, then you must have this, because this may not be suitable for all occasions, but for certain nights, especially nighttime fragrances, this is a beautiful choice. So let me give you the notes in detail. The top notes have coriander, cumin and petite grain. The middle notes have rock, rose and jasmine. The base notes have cedar, vetiver and ambergris. The woodiness is beautiful in this. It's not dry, at the same time it's not sweet, and it's just amazing. Give it a try. Okay, so I'm down to 5, the top 5 that is, and just before I move ahead, I would like to say, this is like a disclaimer. I'm not asking you guys to buy anything from my suggestions or to consider buying or something like that. This is not a paid video or like a fragrance canvassing video. This is just a video where I'm discussing certain perfumes that I feel are equally good for men, and you can definitely give it a try. You can check the notes and everything and decide for yourself, or just enjoy the video and forget about it. Okay, so this fragrance, the next one, is a tea fragrance, a chai fragrance, and one of the best of its kind. Actually, the credit for choosing this goes to somebody else who suggested it to me at the time I was buying, and he probably knew my choice more than I do, but I was actually going for another one. So this is Remember Me from the House of Jovoy, and this is beautiful. This has a very good longevity as well, extremely long longevity. The projection is not incredibly strong or high, and the sillage is also medium, but the longevity is pretty good. It lasts at least for about 6 to 8 hours, even longer probably on the clothes, but on my skin it lasts minimum for like 6 to 8 hours. So if you don't know about it already, it will be quite an interesting thing to note that this fragrance has cardamom, this has milk, and this has chai, this has tea in it. And yet I'm saying this is quite fresh at the top. It's quite fresh. It maybe when it settles down, it becomes a little intense, a little creamy on the skin, but that freshness doesn't go for a long time. So let me give you the notes in detail. The top notes have cardamom, bergamot and lemon. Now you know where the freshness is coming from. The middle notes comprise of tea, frangipani, ginger. The base notes comprise of milk, woodsy notes, cedar and vanilla. So you get the cardamom, you get the milk, you definitely get the vanilla, you get the woody notes as well. There's a lot of woodiness to it, but there's nothing dry about it, and there's nothing intensely sweet or creamy about it. This is an amazing fragrance and a must have for all kinds of people, like men, women, and this is something I think I wear this round the year. So I think this is suitable for all the year round and for any occasions. You could wear this to a party, or you could wear this to your boardroom meeting. It would just do you good. So that's about it. The next fragrance that I have in my hand is for all of you who are coffee lovers, and this is Montal's Intense Cafe. Oh, amazing fragrance, amazing. I just don't know how to describe it except for this. Everything is amazing about this perfume. So where Intense Cafe is mostly referred to as a coffee fragrance, if you ask me, it comes across more as a vanilla flavored coffee. And this beautiful coffee smell that I get when I enter a barista, this is the same thing that I get over here, and it's just the way I love my coffee. I don't drink black coffee. I don't drink it too strong or too light for that matter. Just the right way and right blend, and just the way I love my coffee. This fragrance is like that. And this, even if you are, forgive me for saying this, even if you're a very boring kind of a man who always wears those Creed Aventus and Dior Sauvage kind of fragrances, and you stick to your own type of fragrances, this is a must have for you to give you a different taste of life. And even if you are the fun loving kind of a guy who's very adventurous and who's very humorous and down to earth, this is something that you should definitely give it a try, because it's such a beautiful take on life. I mean, it's fresh and it's coffee and it's vanilla and a little bit of those floral notes. It's an amazing combination. So the top notes have floral notes, The middle notes have coffee and rose, and yeah, you do get the rose along with the coffee. And the base notes comprise of amber, vanilla, white musk. I found this about Pierre Montal's fragrances, that they all come with a very simplistic pyramid of notes, just a few, and they work magic. So I'm down to the top 2 of my fragrances for top 10 fragrances for men, and these 2 are my favorite, and not the usual feminine choices, but unisex in my opinion, and at the same time these are like must-haves for a man in my opinion. So the second one is Ormond Jane's Ambre Royal. Now look at that bottle, it looks classy. The perfume is just as classy as that bottle. It's the best amber that I have come across so far, because it changed the way I look at amber as a perfume note. In my opinion, amber was added to that dense, intense, heavy kind of fragrances, but this is totally different. If you think you know your amber note, then you need to sniff this, because perhaps this will give you a different idea about how amber can be an elegant addition to your fragrance notes. This was launched in 2016, and if you ask me, Ambre Royal has got a lot of things working in it apart from the amber. I get a distinct woodiness to it, and the white musk also leaves a very good presence into it. So let's go through the notes. It's iris, osmanthus, orchid, white musk, cedar, and amber, of course. I think the one note that I find almost like no presence is iris, because I have got a few fragrances that is so strong when it comes to the iris. It always leaves a very strong presence, but this is something where the iris is kind of taken a back seat. But the amber and the white musk along with the cedar, this is one beautiful take on amber. And we have come to the final fragrance of this list, which is again one of my favorites, one of my go-to fragrances. This is Nishane's 100 Silent Waves. In one word, gorgeous. Beautiful, but more than beautiful, it's gorgeous. It's powdery, it's woody, it's floral. You could not ask for anything better. And why I say this is one of the best fragrances for a man, of course for a woman as well, but also for a man, is that this gives you a choice. This gives you a different kind of a fragrance apart from the usual mundane fragrances that men are used to wearing. This is a very different take on usual men's fragrance. It starts with a little bit of sweetness. It starts like almost like a little juicy, or if I can say, a little makeup sweetness, makeup kind of a smell, but that's then it goes into this powdery note, and actually that is what makes it last longer on your skin and on your clothes. But the dry down is beautiful. It's earthy, it's woody kind of a dry down, which actually gives you a different kind of a fragrance. And I can only tell you, the experience of wearing 100 Silent Waves is amazing, and it lasts for a long time. This was launched in the year 2016, and it has a gourmand kind of a base, if I can say that. That's what I've noticed as well. So let me give you the notes in detail. The top notes have mandarin orange, tuberose, and peach, but the tuberose is not very strong in that kind of way, because I kind of struggle a little with tuberose. I'm not too fond of tuberose, but this is different. I love this fragrance, and it has nothing to do with tuberose in that way, so nothing to worry about. The middle notes comprise of jasmine, gardenia, and orris. The base notes comprise of vanilla, sandalwood, and vetiver. So that beautiful dry down, the earthiness, and the richness of the whole thing definitely comes a lot from the sandalwood. that typical sandalwood and vanilla combination gives it that beautiful fragrant creaminess which is amazing. And vetiver obviously gives it a lot of depth that makes it a beautiful experience to wear 100 silent ways, in my opinion. So I hope you enjoyed this video of 10 must-have fragrances for men, and also do let me know how well I was able to put this together. I've never dabbled with men's fragrances before, so if you are a man watching this video, do leave a comment and let me know how well I did, and if my choices or if my selection kind of give you any encouragement, or if you have tried any of these fragrances, how well do you think they are suited for a man's wardrobe. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you very soon in my next one. Till then, lots of love.